Hello and welcome to Warframe. My name's Todd, also known as Magimech, and this is of course Warframe. Last time we left off completing the requirements we needed to unlock the Natah questline on Uranus. I'll never get used to saying that with a straight face. So since last weekend, of course, the Stalker's Acolytes have been going on throughout the week. If you've been managing to fight them, as I stated in the previous episode, hopefully you got some good mods and had some luck with RNG, or a random number, the random number generator, of course. Since then, the Prime Vault has opened for this time around. Let's go take a look at that real quick. So the Fire and Ice Prime packs have been released. It's the Ember Prime and Frost Prime sets, with all their respective weapons and accessories that you can, of course, purchase or attempt to gather by opening relics. That's pretty much the only major update as of this moment, I believe. I don't think there's anything else that we really need to worry about, so we're just going to jump straight into Natah and start doing that questline. So, does Lotus say anything here? I guess not. So, we've got our codec scanner in hand. Creating session, huh? That's... oh, network not responding. Is my internet crapping out on me now? That would be kind of unfortunate if it was. No, I guess we're okay. That was strange. That wasn't a part of the quest, of course. That was just potentially my internet destroying itself. Imploding, but let's just jump into the quest. Oh, we've got a buddy along with us. Cool. Warframe. You're getting a shout out for me from this video, buddy. We're going to be doing Natah together, so let's go. I don't know what this quest entails. I kind of forgot entirely, so let's just go through. I'm pretty sure it just has to deal with scanning some drones the same way we did with the Sentients on Uranus. Maybe I should start referring to it as the Grenier Sea Lab from now on. Just because I'm kind of unable to say Uranus with a straight face. I tried my best not to make jokes about butts, and that's not super easy at this point, with all the different things that have been happening in Warframe as of late.
It doesn't seem very interested in you. Try to get a scan of what's collecting.
Somewhere.
That may reveal its purpose.
We've got our codec scanner equipped.
It is just old war wreckage. Why are the Corpus suddenly interested in it? Tenno, another scannable signature just appeared near you. We may be able to determine what the Corpus are up to.
Our friend's dog appears to be down, and maybe our friend will get out in a second. Let's try and clean out the enemies here. So we can deal with that. I did re-equip our Vasto and our Vectis just because these missions I don't believe take place on Uranus, and even if they did, I don't think they count towards the junction completion. So might as well have our weapons equipped while we can. I'm going to go to this left one over here because it appears to be closer. We'll scan that. Hopefully our teammate will go to the other one, but we'll see. Okay, so we're in like a little grove thing, I think. We do still have our codec scanner equipped. With your codec scanner, you can melee things, of course.
I'm not getting a signal, but if you found a drone, scan it before it notices you.
There we go. We need to scan it before it gets away and notices us. There we go. Got it. One scout scanned. Let's see. It does benefit you to not use any weapons that are loud if you can while you're attempting to scan these drones.
Tenno, what did you see? My data stream went dark.
Oh dear. Our good friend went down. So they just chose to automatically revive.
It will take some time to decipher. Concentrate on your mission for now.
Let's head over and see if we can't help out over here.
But if you found a drone, scan it before it notices you.
We need to scan that drone quickly.
Get another scan. I can determine its origin.
We did get a scan on it though.
Tenno, I need you to scan another drone. Good. I'm putting the stream together now. It is It is an oculist. That means... I'm sorry,
Ah.
Tenno. Stay safe.
Yes, Lotus knows what that means,
Hello?
but
Did the Lotus just abandon the operator? Get cut off? I have extraction ready. I think you should hurry.
we'll have to explain that later, I suppose. Lotus is being, of course, very cryptic and secretive. If you know why that is, of course, you'll find out soon enough. If you don't. But if you know why that is, it kind of just makes all the more sense now. Seeing it for the second time, it definitely makes a lot more sense to me. The first time through this, it kind of just was very cryptic and silly. But that's kind of a lot of the story in Warframe, for the most part. Story is not really what you come to Warframe specifically for. The story's kind of silly, to say the least. So our good friend apparently carried us, but I think it was mostly just because they were doing most of the work. I wasn't really bothering to kill any enemies, just kind of running through the objectives, as that kind of benefits us more. So I guess we can drop out of this group
Operator,
real quick.
Ordis knows what it is like to be abandoned. Don't worry, someone has offered to help us.
So, pupil, the spring has ended. The lotus blossom has snapped shut, her true nature revealed. Now, we shall see if codependence can be broken. Let us begin to unravel her long-hidden truth.
So that was Teshin, a character that we'll be seeing quite a lot from here on out. Teshin is kind of the faction leader for the Conclave, which is the PvP mode in Warframe that almost nobody plays because it's ridiculously unbalanced. But he is kind of critical to the story going forward. This quest, and of course a couple of the other quests, kind of tie into each other, which explains a little bit more about Teshin and Lotus and all the different things about who we are as Tenno. So it's going to get very cryptic. I'll try my best to kind of keep people updated and explain things, but I think for the most part, no spoilers yet, massively. Not until we get into the second dream, I think it is.
The ghost you saw is of a menace long thought dead. They study us, study our enemies. Let us sharpen our knowledge of them.
So, those long-forgotten enemies, of course. Sentients, and the oculists that we've been scanning. Learn more about them as time goes on. I wish I could be less cryptic,
this console will serve my purpose. Unlike your Lotus, I will not keep its secrets from you. Exercise your training. Defend the console.
If I go too in-depth of explaining what these characters' significance is, it would definitely give away massive spoilers. If you're watching these videos, of course, no surprise to you. Now, the fact that you will get spoilers as time goes on and we complete quests, so just be aware ahead of time that I'm not going to be extremely candid as time goes on and things are explained or revealed, more like. As things are revealed, I will do my best to then explain in depth about how that really should function and kind of what each character's significance to us is. For now, let's just say that Teshin is kind of our ally. I'd say he's potentially even more of an ally than the Lotus is. Teshin's, of course, main goal is for us to become the best Tenno that we can be.
What I seek. Move on.
Which is kind of why he attempts to train Tenno through the Conclave, which is more of a training exercise than anything else. We really need to deal with this Nox. There we go. Our Vectis is good for dealing with heavy units. It's also pretty okay for dealing with even the smaller units, because it's punch through and quick fire rate, but we have to make sure that we're tanking a lot of that damage while we just stand there and kind of kill enemies. So on squishier frames, such as the mag we were partnered with, that might become a problem. You may not wish to use the Vectis as I was just using it there, just kind of standing and sniping. enemies. You may choose to be more agile with it, move around, kind of get better vantage points. Using cover is advisable in Warframe, but will not save you.
Protect this console.
It is critical to understand that in Warframe you will take damage. There is no point of which you can kind of perform glass cannon builds to their utmost unless you're at very low level content. So that's just kind of a good tip, is focus on making sure that your frames can survive nasty hits rather than focusing on trying to optimize them. For the time being, survival is key. If you can't live long enough to kill your enemy, then you've kind of failed. Though, that kind of goes against a lot of the ninja-like feelings that a lot of people have for Warframe. There are definitely some aspects that could be considered... Oh, we just keel over, see? We need to have our Taxon back. He died to that Nox previously, but
task is
we're
complete
good now.
But the puzzle calls for one last piece. Advance to the final console.
The major things, of course, being that the one type of, I'd say, glass cannon builds or non-heavily armored builds that kind of work are invisibility builds for frames such as Loki, Ash, Octavia. Some of those builds might be more suited to those who wish to not focus on survivability. For every other frame, though, that does not have any form of invisibility, survivability is critical. And there are definitely lots of mods to help with that.
The answers we seek lie within.
Alright.
Use this combat to sharpen your blades. I predict you will need them in coming battles.
Teshin is definitely not wrong. And of course, these enemies are just kind of... I'd say that we're actually kind of halfway through most of the star chart. Or close to enemy difficulty-wise. The highest levels that you can kind of run into are level 50 enemies, sort of very close to halfway. Not exactly. But these tough enemies, such as Noxes and others, definitely give us a run for our money. So we'll, of course, have to be wary of them. It does help to kind of use all the damage modifiers that we can, such as increasing on our Vectis and other things when you're dealing with those heavy units. Going for headshots is pretty critical. You'll kind of learn secondhand that headshot knocks.
I have found that which wanted to be hidden. Advance to extraction.
Headshotting Noxes is extremely critical, as once they've lost their like glass dome that they have on their heads, they become much weaker to all forms of damage. But while they have that dome on their head, they actually are resistant to most forms of damage, at least from what I've seen. So it's just a quick thing to note. A lot of other enemy types are kind of the same. A lot of their extremities don't take as much damage as their good old headshot. So there's a good amount of skill involved. We just have to kind of finagle it and make it work for the moment as we're leveling our stuff up. Our Vectis, our Vasto, our Galantine will all become invaluable tools as we level them up. We have put, I believe, potatoes on 2 of those items.
This Grineer is smarter than the others, more volatile. We need to be cautious. Find his sergeant, pupil. He will lead us to this tomb.
For the most part, we're just going to follow what Teshin says, because that's kind of what we do. We follow whoever our overlord voice is for the time being. So we're going to find the sergeant, and we're going to take him down. I don't believe this is the sergeant boss. Oh, it's our good friend, W. Warframe. I don't know if they're doing recordings the same way I am, but that name is very generic, I suppose you could say. I'm not sure.
The Grineer have plunged these depths and awakened an old evil submerged here. Capture the sergeant. He will know where this tomb is.
At least this person does know.
We don't have the authority, You are endangering the Tenno.
So, the petals have opened once more. But why now? Afraid of what we'll find?
I had to cover my tracks, but I see that Teshin has been leading you into an even greater danger.
The beast soon stirs, Lotus, revealing much. It will awaken and become whole again.
Sentient.
You know this one, don't you? He knows where the tomb is. Apprehend him.
The specific sentient that we're talking of that is going to awaken, they were being very cryptic, so it's kind of hard to follow their speeches there, but they're talking effectively about a specific sentient that is destined to awaken soon. And this one, the Lotus knows personally.
We have our target. Advance.
Let's just
to
get out of here.
extraction.
Could kill these guys, it's not really worth it. My weapons don't do a lot of damage. Would love it if they did enough to kind of one-shot some of these guys on headshots, but most of the basic enemies we can deal with. But those extremist enemies or bombards and noxes get kind of annoying. We're using a lot of ammo on them for very little reason. We are starting to awaken to the idea that the Lotus might not be telling us everything, though. She's definitely been our ally throughout all of this, but the question is, why hasn't she been extremely forthcoming? And that will all be kind of explained as time goes on. Nope, can't go that way, so we'll have to go around. That's the same style of map that we've seen previously. So we're just gonna rocket jump up here, bullet jump forward, just kind of ignoring all these enemies. We don't really need to fight them, and fighting them will just take a significant amount of time that we really don't have, at least at this exact moment. The quicker we can get through this, of course, and proceed with the junctions, the quicker we're able to unlock more quests, more storylines. So I'm just rushing through it. My ally will have to forgive me for ignoring pretty much all the cool fighting that you can do. I'm sure on your playthrough, or however you choose to play, don't be afraid to kind of go your own way, and not be afraid of just deciding to play as you want, killing all the enemies, unlocking all containers, doesn't really matter. Somebody gets in your face about it, note that it's your right to play the game how you want to play. Kind of a role reversal this time. We did more damage and took less damage, but still didn't get the most amount of kills by one kill. That's okay though. We weren't really worried about that anyway. We'll leave the group again, leaving our friend the Warframe to their own part of the quest.
Speak, Lotus. The pieces are set. It is your move.
Till Regor must be stopped from entering the tomb. I have to risk exposure to stop him. Go.
And so we will. I don't know if we get help throughout this mission, but we must stop Tile Regor. Till or Tile, I'm pretty sure it's Tile Regor, but Lotus pronounces it Till Regor, so we'll go with that for the time being. Survival.
Get to the waypoint. I will give you further instructions when you get there.
So we are taking down these enemies pretty simply. You can see with our sniper rifle here. But some of even just the basic lancers take more than one hit, and that's pretty sad for our little Vectis. It shows that we haven't upgraded it anywhere near its full capacity. A Vectis like the one we have, of course, can pretty much decimate most enemies in the star chart once we have it fully upgraded. I think one of the major mods we're missing is
You've reached the
multi-shot.
waypoint. Access the system.
Multi-shot being extremely critical.
Knew it. Little lizards can't resist another chance to get their sticky hands in my jar.
Till's cut off life support. Hold on, Tenno. I am readying extraction, but this will take time.
The Sentient. The Destroyer. The Liberator. Depends on who you ask. But this thing is certain. I will have its secret.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area.
I believe
Activating it will buy you more time.
soon enough, Till will learn that sentients are not to be toyed with and will not easily be controlled. I believe that this mission here will show just kind of how badly of a decision it is to try and attempt such. While they might seem like machines, they're
Life
very much
support on
so
the way.
of their own mind. Okay. We're just going to keep plunking heads here, and we're going to be focusing on trying to ensure that we have enough life support. Man, they're burning through it pretty quickly, and we are not gaining any very quickly. So we will be using the capsule here.
Life support activated.
Hopefully,
I've delivered
we'll
another
be
life
okay.
support
We only have to
capsule.
make it, is that 8 minutes? I'm seeing up in the upper left? Yes. Trying to focus on 2 things at once, and that always gets confusing. To roar, we can use the extra damage since we got a bunch of energy orbs flying around us. Jump straight into the next one. It's interesting to see what missions it immediately jumps you into and what missions it doesn't.
Funny, isn't it, Tenno? I'm cracking open the Sentient's tomb and sealing yours at the same time. Not laughing. Well, I don't know. I find it funny.
So,
It's not a tomb, Rhaegar. It's a cage. If you open it,
Is that Teshin? So, the pseudo-Tenno lives! Still drunk on your own honor? Shocked it hasn't rotted you through yet.
Life support incoming.
a little bit of backstory there. The reference to a pseudo-Tenno is not entirely incorrect when referring to Teshin. But not entirely correct either. More of a precursor.
The Sentient, nasty thing, came from where? Who cares? They smashed the Orokin, freed us. How? How'd they do that? I want to know.
Well, he will learn firsthand.
Another life support
And
capsule
not in the way
is now
he's hoping,
available.
I don't think. When they talk about it being a cage, not a tomb, they're 100% correct. Sentients don't die in the traditional manner, as they are very similar to machines that can be restarted very quickly. Oh, network not responding, that's not great. Hopefully we don't get disconnected for no reason. What a shame after all this time spent on this survival mission here. Okay, we seem to be okay. Just kind of plugging through all these guys. We have gotten a good amount of life support systems here. We found kind of a nice spot in this little hallway where the enemies are just rushing us from both sides, which would be bad if they were overwhelming us, but thankfully our Vectis' shot combo has gotten high enough that we're able to pretty much one-shot everything at this point. It doesn't take much more than that. Your shot combo does degrade over time, but it does not degrade all at once. Meaning that you can keep it up pretty much indefinitely without much trouble as long as there's enough enemies to shoot. And the fact that there are most certainly enough enemies, we're good. I could talk a little bit about Tyle Rhaegar. I think I've talked a little
Additional
bit
life support
about him in
has
the
arrived.
past. He is a kind of a mad scientist for the Grineer. He's so intelligent, in fact, that the Grineer queens that might have been mentioned previously almost hold him in reverence. His intelligence would not be lost on even some of the most intelligent corpus. So, don't underestimate him.
Drilling. Hundreds of hours and just cracking through the sarcophagus now. Open wide.
Oh, maniacs. that noise, of course, is a Grenier Maniac. We will have to deal with that, I'm sure, as we're trying to do survival here. He's here, yes. That little bastard who's teleporting around. Unlike the Bombard Maniac that we ran into that one time, Grenier Maniacs are more roguelike characters, fight with melee attacks. And they teleport around annoyingly, but they also have invulnerability phases, which makes them more dangerous than the Bombard Maniacs, I'd say. Though if you are able to eliminate them, they have a chance of dropping Ash's blueprints, which are pretty good. The Ash Warframe is a pretty nice Warframe that combines combat with stealth mechanics.
Entering. It's massive. Empty. Where are they? They escape? Wait. What's this?
Don't do it, Regor.
Another life support capsule is now available.
Teshin's warning there stands as kind of a preemptive thing, because he knows all too well what the Sentients are capable of. As the Sentients were an old enemy of both his and ours. The Tenno have a very deep connection to Sentients. You could almost say that they are our reason for creation. I won't go too much more in depth into that, but it will be explained in time. I'm really trying to be as cryptic as possible while kind of explaining a little bit more about how things function here. It's so hard to not give away any spoilers without having a good kind of sheet in front of me, but I wouldn't be able to pay attention to it anyway while I'm trying to fight here. We have enough canisters now that I think we could probably pop one open without having to worry about losing anything, so I'm going to do that. Rush down to one of this one down here, and then we'll rush back up. It'll kind of give us a buffer. So we'll jump back up here, back around. That's a Bombard, and he hit me with a rocket. Unfortunate. Not a critical problem. Next to me, Rhino, of course. We've only got about 2 minutes left.
What has he found?
Hopefully you've been experienced by now.
Some primordial former. An engine for self-manipulation. What will it do for me? What was that?
Effectively,
Prepare for
almost done here. Got really kind of focused there because there were a lot of enemies in front of me. Bombard was kind of spooking me. I'm also trying to let these cutscenes kind of play out. It's kind of hard to judge when they start, when they stop. I know that they are kind of timed, but I haven't really planned out when they are, so...
Not alone. Who was there?
Almost looks like the Lotus.
Natah, where are you? You cannot hide from me.
All of you retreat now!
Natah, who have you become? Does this form remind you of what you once were? Time has carried my seed so very far from the branch.
Additional life support has arrived.
So we learned the name. Who is he referencing, though? Of course, the titular name Natah. We wonder, who does it reference? Who is this voice, of course? We don't know that either. Because you know Tile Regor has woken it up, though, which more than likely means that it is sentient.
Ready. Leave now. Get out.
And leaving sounds like a good idea once we get a little bit more life support so we can make it in time.
That should keep
These
you going
Grenier
for a
are
while.
free to die horrible deaths at the hands of Sentients, for all I care. we will be moving forward. Okay. So I believe there's maybe one more part after this, which finishes out the Natah questline, but we've been going for a good amount of time now. I didn't want to make this too long, too tedious. This is a pretty long mission with a large bit of survival that we just did. And the other missions beforehand, which were a little bit shorter. Did get a good amount of resources, which was quite nice. But nothing massively useful for us. Next time I think we'll continue with the questline and be moving forward, explaining a little bit more about who that voice was.
Pupil, what is your Lotus hiding? Who is Natah?
My name. My old name. It is not who I am now. We need to focus on now, not history. We need to seal the tomb. A blast capable.
The Sentient is awake, Natah. It will not be contained for long.
Do not call me that. Containment will buy us time. Go now, Tenno. I will explain more when you reach the site.
In the situation we are at the moment, I can say that time is critical, as sentients are massively dangerous. But we will seal the tomb next time. And until then, goodbye.